Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we have some more For Honor gameplay. Now, it's not just gameplay. I'm going to teach you how to be the best at For Honor in terms of leveling up. Today we're going to cover how to gain XP the quickest possible way and what you do to do that. Let's get straight into it. So obviously at the start of each game and at the end of each game, you're going to get a score. And this score basically correlates to the amount of XP you get, but not as much as you think. The highest score gives you like more XP performance at the end of the game. Also, your team contributes to that XP performance, so if your team do well, you get more XP performance. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. The higher score you and your team have, the higher XP performance you will get. The most important part is obviously if you win or if you lose. Now you get less XP if you lose, not by much though, by about 50 to 60 XP less if you lose than if you win. Obviously you want to be winning as many games as possible. You can't just go in there and throw the games, lose and do pretty shit, and you won't get any XP for that. So I'm going to teach you the most efficient way you can do this. If you didn't know, you can buy like a Champion Series like XP booster. This increases your XP by about 50 XP per win, so that also helps out quite a lot. But I think it requires quite a bit of steel to do that. So yeah, you can do that as well. Let's move into the number one method of how to get XP. So this is going to be orders. Now, obviously you get three types of orders. There are event orders, daily orders, and there are contract orders. Contract orders expire like every couple of days, I think. Or no, every day actually. Contract orders expire, and daily orders also expire every day. So if you complete these, you'll get a huge amount of XP. I think it varies between 500 XP and 1500 XP for each order you complete. And it also gives you quite a bit of steel as well. So this is the number one way to get huge amounts of XP. Make sure you grind those contract orders as quick as possible, as fast as you can, basically. Move on into the score and more in-depth explanation of how the scoring works. All types of characters. You have the Assassin, you have the Hybrid, you have the Vanguard, and the Heavy. Now, little did I know, whilst recording this video, I was trying to find as much information as possible as to how scoring worked. Each class gets different bonuses from certain things you do in the game. So, the Assassin class gets more score for executions and kills. This basically makes them number one at playing Elimination, Brawl, and Duel. So you want to be using that class when playing Elimination and Brawl. And later on I'll get into which game mode is the best for getting high amounts of XP. Moving on to the second class here, we have the Hybrid. The Hybrid class gets the most score for basically standing in a base that you own, because if many of you didn't know, when playing Dominion, if you stand in a base A or C, you get an extra point for your team towards the score. So, standing in that base, you get 1 point every 1 second. If you're Hybrid, if you're an Assassin, you only get 1 point every 4 seconds. The Hybrid gets more score for reviving and killing soldiers. I think you get 2 points for killing a soldier. Only 1 point if you're an Assassin. You get 2 points for killing a soldier, and you also get more score for reviving allies. The Hybrid get the highest amount of score for executions. In general, the Hybrid is good for all types of game modes, so that's a safe character to pick, regardless of what game mode you're playing. Okay, moving on into third type of character, you have the Vanguard. Gets more score for killing soldiers. Vanguard also gets more score for standing in base, just like the Hybrid does as well. But the Vanguard also gets more points for capturing enemy bases. So basically what this means, if you're on the A side and you go capture an enemy base where they have C, you get more points for doing that. I think it's 5 extra points for capturing a base. Okay, the Vanguard gets more points for revive than average. The Vanguard is pretty decent at playing Dominion. Okay, moving on into the final type of character here, you have a Heavy. The Heavy basically gets more points for killing soldiers, equal to the amount of the Vanguard and the Hybrid. So yeah, they get more points for killing soldiers. Also, the same amount of standing in the base as the Vanguard and the Hybrid as well, 1 point per second. And they get more points for a revive, more points for an assist. That's basically what the Heavy does, so the Heavy gets more points playing Dominion. Okay, and finally, just a little extra note here. Everyone gets more score for shutting down kill streaks and getting kill streaks themselves. So, to get the most score, you want to be looking at getting those heroics, those legendaries, those godlikes, or shutting down people that have those legendary heroic and godlikes as well. That'll get you huge amounts of score, and you'll be getting tons of XP. Moving on into the game modes. Now this one was kind of hard. I played like 5 games of each. Obviously I won most of them because I'm good at the game, but winning them is obviously the best method of getting high amounts of XP. Let's go into what types of game modes are the best, and what you should be playing to get the highest amount of XP possible. We're going to be playing PvP for each of these game modes. AI don't give you as much XP as playing player versus player, which obviously makes the games a little bit harder, but it's worth it for the XP. Okay, Dominion. Now Dominion takes roughly 7 to 15 minutes to complete a game. You get score for standing in bases, capturing bases, killing people, getting kill assists, killing soldiers. Basically, doing anything in the game will get you score. But at the end of the game, you will get roughly about 400 to about 550 XP, depending on how quickly you win or lose, and whether you win or lose, and how much score you and your team get. In the games that I played, I accumulated roughly about 490 XP in on average. And the games I played took about 8 to 9 minutes. For this, I'm going to assume that you're taking the longest time possible, which is pretty much a 15-minute game. I haven't seen games last 20 minutes, which is the timer on the Dominion match. So, assuming a 15-minute game, that takes you right four games in an hour, pretty much. We're going to ignore like the fact that getting into games and loading games and all that stuff. We're going to assume 4 games in an hour roughly accumulates to about 2000 XP in an hour. Moving on into the second game mode here, we have Brawl, player versus player. Now these games take roughly about 3 to 6 minutes if you're good. You can win in 3 rounds, no problem. Just be good at the game. These game modes take around 3 to 6 minutes. Obviously, if you're winning a 3-round game, that's going to take you about 3 minutes. The games that I played, obviously I played 5 of each game mode. 5 games that I played roughly took around 4 or 5 minutes each. Assuming that you're going to take 6 minutes each per game, we're going to say that you can get 10 games in 1 hour. So the XP that I got was roughly around 240 XP per game. But unlike Dominion, it takes less time, so you can get more games in an hour. Adding that up, for 10 games in an hour, it gives you roughly around 2,400 XP, which is pretty decent, right? That's better than Dominion, it's quicker than Dominion, but the downside is you're only going to be able to play with one other friend. So, choose your friends wisely. Anyway, going into the final game mode here, we have Elimination, player versus player. Okay, this game mode takes around 4 to 8 minutes, depending on how quick you are, depending on how good you are. Me and my friends roughly win about 3 or 4 rounds, winning most of the time. But the games that I played, it took us around 5 to 6 minutes, because we won like 3 to 4 round games. But I'm going to assume that you took around 8 minutes to win your games, okay? So 8 games in an hour, pretty much. The average XP that I got was around 400 points, maybe a little less, about 370, 380. It's around that area, depending on how good you and your team do. In the 8-minute games, you can play roughly around 8 games in 1 hour, which accumulates to 3.2 thousand XP every hour. So, to conclude here, the Elimination player versus player is the best game mode to get XP. But I'm going to tell you who to play in these elimination games. So, due to assassins getting more points from kills and executions, you're going to want to play assassins in these elimination PvPs. Hybrids as well aren't too bad at playing elimination PvPs. That gets you extra XP for killing and for executing enemies. So it's better than playing a Vanguard or a Heavy that don't get as much XP from killing or executing enemies. So that pretty much rounds up this video. Just to conclude, you're going to be playing elimination. You're going to want to play assassins or hybrids, and you want to execute as many enemies as possible, because executions give more points than just killing them straight up. So yeah, that pretty much rounds up this video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe down below. Have a nice day. See ya.